always made movies, you know, it's always been my life ever since I was a little kid. When I was 12 years old, I would get my friends together with my grandparents' VHS camcorder and make movies with them in the backyard running around. And so now that we're in a global pandemic, the question became, you know, how do you make movies? Because movies often are seen as a collaborative art form. How do you create new art in this new world? People are turning to media right now just as a way to fill their time, to nourish their minds, to feel connected to other people or to stories. Stories have always been an important part of my life. The reason I make films is because I want to communicate these small pieces of reality with an audience. And if the piece of reality that we're dealing with right now is living in New York City during a global pandemic and a time of crisis and fear, then that's what we're going to do. We're living in strange times where it's unpredictable what the next week is going to look like. I remembered a project that I had been trying to do for many, many years. I'd always wanted to do a group adaptation of Edgar Allan Poe's remarkable poem, The Bells. It just lends itself to a dramatic form because it's a sonorous piece. It's like a piece of music.
From the bells, 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 bells.
How they tinkle, tinkle, tinkle.
Keeping time, time, time.
Hear the mellow wedding bells, golden bells.
One of the actors lives in Hell's Kitchen, and one of his favorite things during the day would be the ringing of the bells from the church down the street every hour. And it gave him a feeling of optimism. And we started the film with him.
Hear the sledges with their bells. Silver bells. What a world of merriment their melody foretells.
The last actor that we used submitted a tape and wondered if it was even worthwhile. I think his ambivalence was quite appropriate for the work that we were doing.
Keeping time in a sort of runic rhyme to the throbbing of the bells, Bells.
So we put the bells out there on social media, and it seemed like there was a really strong need, not only for actors to perform in it, but for people to watch a film and believe that it was possible to still create under the extreme circumstances that we're under. After we made the bells, we thought about creating work that would be original. So we asked a writer, an extremely talented playwright named Susanna Nolan, if she would write something for us. She wrote a piece called Jumper, and I think she drew inspiration from the apartment building that she lives in Brooklyn Heights. You could hear in different apartments that there would be families with newborns, and it reminded her of what it was like to be a new mother and going through those periods of postpartum depression and going through all the intense sturm and drang of sleepless nights and taking care of a small human that can only communicate through crying.
She was so beautiful when she was born.
She asks me if it gets better, and I say, oh no, it gets a whole lot worse.
So without directly addressing the conditions that we're living under, she was able to speak to the fear of our time and the trauma of our time and the death that is happening all around us right now.
She was my buddy.
I've always felt that the guiding principle behind why I even want to make films in the first place is because I think love is the most important thing that there is. And I think human beings are complicated and dangerous animals. And bridging those two things is enabling communication. So during this time when I'm alone, it's an incredible source of comfort to be creating. I've lived my life with this belief that we follow the river. And I don't try to control the river. And I don't try to control my feelings. I try to allow my feelings to just go through me. you know, and that can feel really fucked up, and it can feel really powerful. I allow all of it.